Welcome back. If you have ever looked at your camera's menu and felt completely overwhelmed, you are not alone. Today I am going to strip all of that away and give you the only 3 settings that actually matter when you are starting out. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what to adjust and why, and you can forget about everything else. Think of your camera like the cockpit of a car. When you first learn to drive, nobody throws you into a Formula One vehicle with 100 buttons and switches. They put you in something simple and teach you 3 things: the gas pedal, the brake, and the steering wheel. Your camera works the same way. 3 controls do almost everything. If you have been following this channel, you know I spent years frustrated behind the camera before digital photography finally caught up to what I knew was possible. When I finally made the switch in 2011, I did not start by learning every feature in the menu. I learned 3 things: aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. I spent months doing nothing but practicing those 3 controls. By the time I entered my first competition, those 3 things had become second nature. 6 months later, I was listed among the best artists of Sedona. Not because I knew every setting in the camera, because I mastered the ones that mattered. I still remember the moment it clicked. I was photographing a waterfall, the same kind of scene I had shot a dozen times before. And for the first time, I did not have to think about which dial to turn. I saw the water, I knew I wanted it silky, and my hands moved to the right settings without conscious thought. That is the feeling you are chasing. It does not come from memorizing a manual. It comes from practicing the right 3 things until they become instinct. Here they are. Number 1, aperture. That is the hole inside your lens that controls how much light enters. A low F number like f2.8 means a wide opening and a blurry background. A high F number like f16 means a small opening and everything in focus. Number 2, shutter speed. That is how long your sensor is exposed to light. A fast shutter like 1/500th of a second freezes motion. A slow shutter like 1 second blurs it. Number 3, ISO. That is your sensor sensitivity to light. Low ISO like 100 gives you a clean image in bright conditions. High ISO gives you a brighter image in low light, but with more grain. These 3 settings are connected. Change one, and you usually need to adjust at least one other. That relationship is called the exposure triangle. Let me give you the decision order. When you walk up to a scene, ask yourself one question first. What matters more, motion or depth? If you are shooting a runner, motion matters more. So you set your shutter speed first, then adjust aperture and ISO to balance the exposure. If you are shooting a portrait, depth matters more. So you set your aperture first. Probably wide open around f2.8 for that soft background. Then adjust shutter speed and ISO around it. That is it. That is the entire framework. Rule 1. Do not shoot in full manual on day 1. Start with aperture priority mode, marked A or a V on your dial. It lets you control the aperture while the camera handles the rest. Once you are comfortable, move to shutter priority, marked S or TV. Only graduate to full manual when both of those feel natural. Rule 2. Keep your ISO as low as your scene allows. Rule 3. For handheld shots, your shutter speed should never drop below 1 over your focal length. So if you are shooting at 50 millimeters, stay at 1/50th of a second or faster. Memorize that one. It will save more shots than any other rule. Here is something most beginner guides will not tell you. The exposure triangle is not a formula. It is a negotiation. You are trading one thing for another. Every time you press the shutter, more depth of field costs you light. Freezing motion costs you light. The art is knowing which trade to make in which moment. And the only way to learn that is to make the wrong trade a few hundred times until your instincts sharpen. The single exercise that helped me most. I spent 1 week shooting only in aperture priority, 1 week only in shutter priority, and 1 week in full manual. By the end of 3 weeks, I did not have to think about the controls anymore. My fingers just knew where to go. If you commit to that 3-week exercise, I promise you will be a different photographer at the end of it. So to summarize, 3 settings: aperture for depth, shutter speed for motion, ISO for sensitivity. 1 decision: motion or depth first, and 1 exercise: 3 weeks, 1 mode per week. That is the entire shortcut to mastering your camera. If you want to go deeper, my books break down the logic of light into simple, visual lessons designed to take you from beginner to confident, without the frustration I went through. The link to my complete collection is in the description. Thanks for watching. Let's keep it simple